What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here today with the review for Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 5. This is episode number 5, I believe. And this episode is titled Look Who's Squawking. So, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this episode review, shall we? All right, you guys, so let's start the episode up with Candace. So we see Candace, and Chris comes home and she is looking at houses. Now she's been a little bit picky about what, she's talking about the houses she's looked at, and she's been a little bit picky. Now I don't want to be too shady, but I know you make good money. I know you probably make good money from Housewives, but do you make enough money to be picky about a house? I mean, she talked about Giselle's house, although that house does deserve to be talked about because it's tacky as hell. But I was just thinking to myself, like, does she really have does she really have much wiggle room with what she's talking about? But whatever. Then they talk about Candace's house, not Candace, but Karen's housewarming party, and she tells Chris that she talked to Giselle, she apologized to Giselle. But Giselle mentioned the comment that she made to Wendy about her being a monster, which I didn't understand that then, and I still don't understand it now. Why Giselle felt so offended by that. I mean, we all call you the green-eyed bandit and green-eyed monster, so I don't understand it, but whatever. So she also tells Chris that Monique, however, invited all the girls to her lake house for the weekend. Now, Candace is like, I don't know if I want to go because I'm not in a good space with Monique. And Chris was like, well, why don't you go? Because, you're good with other women. And then that'll also give you another opportunity to sit down with Giselle and talk to Giselle. And she's like, maybe. I'm just like, girl, stop being so childish. Go on a fucking trip. I get it. It is Monique's house, but, well, never mind. Because let's move on. All right, you guys, so I'm going to get the small stuff out the way first. So let's talk about Giselle. So we see Giselle, she's at her house and she's packing. I'm like, God, I was looking at what she had on, like, that is, I guess since she's lounging around the house, it's understandable, but tacky doesn't even begin to describe what that was that she had on. And just like, who styles her? Because whoever does it deserves to be fired. Because she has no sense of style whatsoever, like zero sense of style. Because from her confessional looks to her walking around in her day to day to that tacky ass house. Mostly that tacky ass house. I just can't get over that house and those colors. They're loud and ugly. But she's on the phone with Jamal's assistant, and she's trying to, see what his November schedule is. And I guess she's trying to make some time for him and her to be together. And one of their daughter's birthdays coming up. I think is Grace, the oldest one. Her daughter is coming up. Her birthday's coming up. So Giselle is just trying to figure out, some time for him and her. I wonder how is that working out now with the pandemic. She's in Potomac and he's in Atlanta. And she still has yet to address that latest rumor. Well, she addressed it, but she kind of brushed it off about him allegedly having another baby with another person in the congregation. But you know who that ain't got nothing to do with? That's right, this guy. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to move my ass on. All right, you guys, next, let's discuss Wendy. Wendy, so, like I said, all the girls are getting ready to go to this lake house at Monique's. And we see Wendy. So Wendy is, like I said, she's getting ready for the trip, and she's also pumping breast milk for her daughter because, she's been breastfeeding. and this will kind of be like her first time away from the baby. I mean, we're gonna definitely talk about Wendy in a little bit, so I don't want to get too deep into Wendy. But there's some shit with Wendy in this episode. I know a lot of people on social media were not feeling Wendy. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys that I wasn't feeling Wendy, because was she overreacting? Maybe. But did I understand where she was coming from? Yes. Yeah, I definitely understood where she was coming from, but I can see where she overreacted. So yeah, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So I'm not gonna go too deep into Wendy. I just wanted to put that little tidbit out there that, this episode, it really wasn't a lot to it. Nothing really happened until we got towards the end of the episode, pretty much. But we'll get there. All right, you guys, next let's talk about Ashley. Now, this scene took me for a loop. So, Ashley's packing for the trip, right? So, her husband, Michael, grandpa, comes in. He has a baby on him, and Michael is telling Ashley that she needs to take the baby with her on this trip. Mind you, it's a weekend trip, so it's 3 days. So, it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He's telling her that a boy needs to be with his mother, which, yes, I agree with that part. But a boy also should be with his father as well, Michael. And who is his father? That's right, you're his father. So Ashley's like, yeah, you know what? The assistant is coming, the nanny is coming with me. I, like I said, to an extent, I understand it. But then to an extent, I don't understand it. I get Michael works, but you don't work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, yes, while you're at work, I'm pretty sure you guys can leave the baby with the nanny. And then once Michael comes home, who does the baby go with? His father. Michael is just up to his old tricks. And if Ashley, I just don't get how Ashley doesn't see the warning signs. The writings are on the wall. Like Destiny's Child said, thou shalt not hate. The writings are on the wall. All those from that album, the writings are on the wall. Like, literally, Ashley, the writings are on the wall. Like, I just don't get it. Like your tagline says, now that you got your baby, that should be the only crap you take. So throw your wayward ass, no good ass husband to the side. You got your baby. Like, you good. You are good, Ashley. Something tells me that by the end of this season, nah, I give it one more season. How long was that prenup for? Was it 5 years? I don't see that marriage lasting much longer. I really, truly don't. That's just me keeping it real and honest with you guys. I don't see that marriage lasting long, but let's move on. All right, you guys, next let's talk about Monique. So we see Monique. She's at her house. She's getting everything ready so that she can get to the lake house. Now, the really interesting thing is who's riding with her to the lake house. Now, Karen, I'm not surprised about. Giselle, however, yes. Now, the thing that I don't understand, it amazes me. When it comes down to Monique has this big, huge, and I've said it last week, Monique has this big, huge issue with Candace, but yet instead you're on camera being buddy, chummy with Giselle, and you allege, this because I'm not saying that this is true, I'm saying allegedly, you allege that Giselle was the one that wanted to say that Chase is not Chris's baby when Chase looks exactly like Chris. But that's my big thing with her is you making this big thing about Candace, but here you are being friendly with the one person that you said was behind this whole situation besides Sharice and Gigi, who you don't talk to anymore. But Giselle, you on camera being buddy with her, but whatever. Here's another thing that gets to me. T'Challa. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. T'Challa, why the fuck is this bird in the kitchen? That is nasty. Yeah, I'm sorry, Monique. I, if I was your friend and I saw this episode and I see the fact that your bird is in the kitchen and you said, "Hey, come over, we're cooking dinner." No, thank you. I've already ate. No, thank you. And I'm not saying that Monique is dirty by no means. I just don't. That's just nasty to me. I don't like people who have their dogs or cats or any animals in the kitchen when they're cooking, or just in the kitchen. Period. Like that's nasty. Totally nasty to me. Now I get it that they walk through the kitchen. Like most black people tell your animals get the hell out the kitchen. Like in my family, we have a dog, sweet as can be, but she knows to stay her ass out the kitchen. She'll walk in there, but for food, we would tell her get out, move, or we'll put her in her cage. Like when there's a big family thing, she's in her cage. She's nowhere near the kitchen, nowhere near it. But the bird cage is literally in the kitchen. That is just nasty to me. And birds pick their feathers because I've had a cousin that had a bird, and they literally do pick their feathers out. Like, no, thank you. I'm good. I am good on that. It was so funny when Giselle was the first one there, and Karen was last, but Karen lived right down the street. But whatever. But it was funny when uh, Karen said that Giselle has no sense of style. Her clothing, she doesn't know how to dress. I was like, thank God somebody said it. So then they're heading out to the lake house. Now, here's another issue that I have with Monique. So Giselle, we all know she's a resident messy person, the bone collector, the bone carrier. We know that about her, and she's telling Karen about Wendy, telling Robin that she doesn't believe that she and Ray have sex, and Monique co-signed on that. I'm like, Monique, why would you do that? You don't know Wendy like that. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, damn, I'm seeing Monique in a different light at this point. A different light. But let's move on. All right, you guys, now here's where things actually got interesting in the episode, the lake house. So, like I said, Karen and Giselle rode with Monique to the lake house. So, Monique is showing them around the house. There are, how many, I think there were three bedrooms, because Karen's in the main house with Monique. And then there's another bedroom that has two queen size beds in it, or king size, I don't remember. There's a master bedroom, the bedroom that Karen got, the bed with the room with the two beds in it, and then the room with the bunk bed and the crib that Ashley was going to be in, and then the guest house, which has I don't know how many rooms. I forgot how many rooms was in the guest house. So she's showing them she's showing them around. Like I said, Karen's in the main house. Giselle, actually the funny thing was Robin was on time. So Giselle and Robin, they're going to take the guest house. So then, Candace shows up, which they were surprised to see her. Then Wendy shows up, and then Ashley was the last one to show up. And we'll talk about Ashley in just a little bit. So Wendy felt some type of way when Ashley did show up because of the fact that Ashley had her baby and Wendy made a big stink about it. And, before that, Wendy was telling the lady that, she wanted to get to know them on a deeper level. And when she was, moving her arms and shit, T'Challa, he flew over on her. That shit was funny. I was like, I hope your wig is stitched down, because, if he take that wig and fly away, I will die. But like I said, Wendy felt some type of way about Ashley bringing her baby. I understood where she was coming from because she went through so much preparation trying to get on this girls trip. And the thing that I think she overreacted, definitely. But the thing that bothers me with some of these girls is y'all forget how Ashley, y'all talking about what people are doing to Ashley, but it's like we forgetting what Ashley has done to other women in the past with this show. Ashley has been the main instigator for years. Like, for real. Now let's kick it back to season 1. Like, let's kick it back to season 1. Y'all have actually been hypocrites, to be quite honest with you guys. You guys have been hypocrites. Each and every one of you. Karen, I don't know if Karen said anything, but let's kick it back to season 1 when Ashley planned the first girls trip and they went to Michael's house. You guys remember that? I think you do. And remember, Michael came to that gay bar where they were, and Karen and Giselle, number 1 and 2, were the biggest ones saying, well, why is Michael coming to the house? This is a girls trip. This is a girls trip, right? No man should be in the house. Well, if this is a girls trip, why couldn't Ashley leave her child at home? I get it. Michael said no. I get that part. But he is her husband. He should be able to watch his child. I'm just going to stop right there. I'm not even going to go for it. But Wendy and Ashley got into this whole big argument about it. Ashley told her to mind her business. And, Wendy was like, well, this is my business. She says, my husband has to work. He owns a business. Now, when Ashley said that, I'm like, girl, you're trying to go low, ain't you? Because Wendy said, well, my husband is a lawyer. My husband owns a business. Well, my husband's a lawyer. I was like, oh, God, here we go. Because I think Ashley was doing that as a dig. Let's be real with each other. Ashley was doing that as a dig. So then over in the guest house, Candace goes over there to talk to Giselle, and she apologizes to Giselle because she told Giselle she just felt some type of way about Giselle with the whole after show last year where she and Robin was laughing. And that's why she said what she said on social media. But instead of doing it on social media, she should have just called Giselle. And Giselle says, okay, I accept your apology. So then we see the girls, they go have a nice dinner and they play a game of curiosity. So they ask each girl at the table a question that they want them to answer. So the first person up was, I think it was Ashley and Monique who asked Candace a question about her upbringing in school. Ashley was Monique. And I'm assuming Candace must have went to school with a lot of white girls. And she just said she was like one of few brown girls in the school. And so Ashley said, is that why you took up African American studies in college? She says, yes. And then Giselle says, is that also why you got your nose job? She said, I got a nose job? And then they showed a before and after picture of Candace. And yes, Candace, you had a nose job. It actually looks pretty good. It actually looks like my nose, but I have not had a nose job. I don't think I would ever get a nose job. I think my nose is perfect. Actually, to me, my nose is perfect. Because, ooh, if I were to go into some, ooh, cause see, look at that. It looks like it's pinched. Wow, it really does look like it's pinched if I do that. So yeah, my nose is fine. Because I just would never want to walk around with a pinched nose. So then Candace goes next. And she asks Robin, does she think that she and Juan will ever get married? She says, well, we've talked about it. So at this point, the ball is in his court, which we already know the answer to that when they are getting married at some point. So then Karen goes next. And she asks Giselle about her relationship with Jamal. And, how is it now been with him after, all the scandals that's happened, with him having these alleged babies with the women in the congregation. She says, well, she feels like she can trust Jamal now. I'm like, really? Even me and Karen both said, really? You feel like you can trust him? Especially after this last story that just came out, which you still refuse to just, she says that it's not true, but whatever. If she says it's not true, who are we to judge and say boo? So then Karen confronts Wendy about her comments. And Wendy's like, you know what, Karen, you're right. Let me stop checking your coochie and whatnot. But she does tell Karen that she feels that she's very dismissive. And Karen says, I'm not dismissive. Karen, yes, you are dismissive as hell, my love. You're very dismissive of this woman. So they agree that they'll go to dinner with each other. And then, Wendy and Ashley once again gets into it with each other. And Ashley like, that's why you don't have female friends. She says, no, I do have female friends. I just don't deal with fake bitches like you. And she says, people like you address me as Dr. Wendy. I was like, ooh, this is not a good one. And that's really where the episode ended, with those two arguing with each other. But you guys, that is going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Real Housewives of Potomac. Be sure to like this video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else. Share this video and until the next one. Stay safe out there, you guys. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys later. And also stay hydrated. Bye, guys.